Now, the best thing that you can do is reutilize information that's already been created. Remember we had our single line diagram with all of these symbols already placed in a kind of pictorial way to illustrate to non-electrical people how the system is laid out. Notice that we have these F3, F4, F5 already placed, part numbers already on them. If we go to the symbol properties, you notice that this is called F3. It's a magnetic thermal circuit breaker from Schneider Electric with that part number and these type of terminal numbers associated. Why not just reuse that information? Let me close that page and go back to our first magnetothermal circuit breaker symbol, which we added without any manufacturer information. I'll just zoom in on these here. You can right-click on that symbol and go to the symbol properties. I really want this to be the F3 symbol, so I'll browse through my structure here. Here's my main electrical closet, and here's the F3 circuit breaker. It says this symbol will be associated with the selected component. I will choose OK. And look what we have here. F3 is shown here, and the appropriate terminal names from Schneider Electric with the right part numbers associated. Now, I really want to do that with these Q5 and Q6 components. I can go to the symbol properties, and I can even type in F4. And it will tell me the mark already exists, but I can click the Associate button, which is this arrow that you see here, and it will associate it with that particular component, F4, on the other page. I'll keep on doing that. We'll make this one F5. Click the Associate button. So these are actually just another description of the same symbol on the single line diagram. We've already spent the time laying out our structure. Why not reuse that information? It's especially helpful when dropping in your new symbols. So if I were to drop on another magnetothermal circuit breaker, in this case I only need a one-pole version of it, so I'll choose Other Symbol, and I'll choose Magneto Circuit Breakers, and there's a single pole one. I'll drop one on, kind of underneath this one here, and I'll choose F6, because that's what's on the other page of my schematic. And it's already set exactly the way I want. I happen to drop it on the wrong wire, so let me just drag and drop it right here. Now, if you want to drop on symbols in a little bit of a different way, I can go to the Find option and type in right here under the symbol library what I'm looking for. So there's a single pole magnetothermal circuit breaker. Double click it, drop it on, make your association. I'll hit F7 right out of the tree, and life is good. Same thing for the motors I need to place on my power circuit over here. I'll type in that I want a motor. Here's a 3-phase motor. Scroll down here and use a different one. We'll use this one right here. Now notice the symbol comes in pointing upward, but if you drop it on wires that are horizontal, it will automatically associate the symbol in the right orientation. And we're going to make that motor 3. Other types of symbols that you might consider adding, you might need some kind of terminal strip. So you can drop on terminal symbols one at a time or multiple at a time. I'll clear the description field there so I see the types of terminals I'm working with, and I want disconnectable terminals. And when you draw terminals, you can draw more than one at a time if you're using this insert letter N terminals by drawing a line across the wires you want terminals on and in direction of the circuit. So the red arrow pointing right means that the terminals are going to be pointing in such a way that when you wire it in 3D, you will have the top of the wire coming into the top of the terminal strip. And I'll choose an existing terminal strip that I happen to have already and say OK. And it labels them appropriately based on what I have available. So that's a special type of symbol that looks at your terminal strip. In your component browser, you can see that we have 1, 2, and 4, and a number 3 that doesn't have any use right now. You can see it in gray. You can edit the terminal strip by right-clicking on it. Perhaps I don't need that one anymore, so I'll delete it. Perhaps we want to renumber these terminals so they go 1, 2, 3 rather than 1, 2, 4. So I can select them all, right-click, and choose Renumber. And I can start at 1 and step at 1. And there we are. So very easy to go ahead and add those types of symbols. There are many other things you can do with terminal strips that we'll talk about in other chapters of the course.